trenches, politics, TV up in this piece. When we get on live stream, niggas, cause I wanted to get high. I'm getting high today, nigga. I ain't even lying to you, gang.
Shots were fired near Dunbar Highschool in Northwest DC. A student was grazed by a bullet inside Dunbar Highschool in Northwest DC on Friday morning after shots from exchange on gunfire outside flew through a window, police said. The student, a 17-year-old girl, was grazed by a bullet in a second-floor classroom. She received minor injuries and was taken to a hospital. Police said at the news conference she is totally fine and expected to make a full recovery. But if you're thinking to yourself, what led up to all this? Check it out in this next clip right here. But make sure you take a second, hit that like button, subscribe, and share the video out, set your notifications, drop a comment on the situation. Be aware. Thanks.
Of gunfire outside of the high school. We were told that at least one bullet flew through a school window, grazing the student. She is 17 years old. She is expected to be okay, thankfully. Now, keep in mind, there was no active threat inside at any point, according to police. A student we spoke with says he was in class 2 stories above where this student was shot. His mother immediately came to the school once she heard what happened.
The communication, within the school wasn't really that good. They told us that we could call parents and stuff to come and get us. Then we were still waiting for an hour and a half before our parents could even start showing IDs to come and get us. So it was weird.
Now, ultimately, the school did not do an early dismissal. Some parents we spoke with say they do credit the school for keeping their children in a safe and secure spot until more information was available. Others say, like the student you just heard from, that they believe communication could have been better. Angie?
Right, Lily, I know that things are still developing here, obviously, but have we learned anything else about the actual shooting itself? Why it happened, a possible motive here?
A motive is still unclear at this point, Angie. That was one of the first questions raised before city officials a little earlier. There was a press briefing around 11 o'clock this morning, about an hour after, again, all this unfolded. Now, they did not go into why this could have started, what they believe could have started all of this. They just explained that there was gunfire outside of the school, again, to reassure parents that there was no active threat inside of the school at any time. So in terms of a motive, that part is still unclear. It's also unclear who they might be looking for. We didn't hear anything about suspects, any sort of description. So all that information we're still waiting to hear.
Students have been on lockdown. I want everyone to know that our students are secure and they are safe. I will now turn this portion of the press conference over to Assistant Chief Leslie Parsons, who will give you additional details preliminarily on what has occurred this morning. Parsons. All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chief. I am Leslie Parsons, Assistant Chief. Around 9:54 this morning, our officers responded to the report of a shooting victim inside of Dunbar Highschool. When they arrived on the scene, they located a 17-year-old female with a minor graze injury. That female has been taken to a local hospital where she is receiving treatment. Her family is by her side. She is totally fine and expected to make a full recovery. As we investigated the scene, we learned that a vehicle traveled the wrong way 1200 blocks of Park Street. As that vehicle drove up the block, there was a series of gunshots followed by some more gunshots. At this time, we believe there was an exchange of gunfire in that block amongst individuals. However, the motive remains unknown. What we do know is that there were folks that were out there when this occurred. And if anybody was out there or anybody sees anything, we encourage them to call us at 727-9099, or they can send us a text at 50411. Our detectives are going to be in this area throughout the day. They're going to be canvassing, they're going to be knocking on doors, and we would appreciate any help from the public in our community. If anybody has any video or any information, no matter how small, may help us in this case. At this time, like I said, it's very preliminary. We're still in the preliminary stage of the investigation. There's not much more information I can provide at this time. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll open it up for any questions you may have.
So during that event, as I mentioned, the exchange of gunfire, there were several rounds that did go through the glass. Through glass. So they went through or somewhere else? Believed to be a classroom, yes. I haven't been on the inside myself, but believed to be that these two went in the classroom.
I was talking to neighbors the other day. They were saying that they've seen activity of violence in the past nearby. Can you speak to that at all? No,
I think think that in the past, and this was actually my beat 20 years ago when I first started on the job, but this neighborhood has come a long way under the 3rd District, under the medical. Our officers are always out here in the area, always visible. So I think our officers do a good job of trying to work with the community and help out.
So school remains on lockdown right now. When can parents be coming?
So the school will be lifted the lockdown shortly if they haven't lifted it already, and students will be dismissed on the opposite side of the school. All right, thank you.
Anything else?
An Instagram page released descriptions of photos implicating this was the shooters that was running away. But then if you read the comments said, how could this be the shooters if they was in a car? So they had a good point. And if they were the shooters, allegedly, then these had to be the shooters that was on foot, that was shooting back at them. Let me know what y'all think about the situation. But make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, and share the video out. Thank you.
Almost an hour ago, a student shot at Dunbar High School. That student was inside that school at the time. The school remains on lockdown this hour. Stephanie Ramirez, first reporter live on the scene, and to break the news this morning with the update of that student who had been shot inside the school. Stephanie is there now. Let's check back in with her.
Steve, and disturbing news hearing that a student was shot inside the school. Now, we want to clarify here what the police chief told us was that the student was grazed by a bullet that went through the window from a shooting that happened outside toward the front area of Dunbar High School on N Street. That student, originally we were told that she was around 15 years old. We're hearing that age has been updated to a little older. We are hearing she's still a teenager. Friends tell me she's 17 years old, and that's what an ANC commissioner here is also telling me as well. Nevertheless, a student inside her school building grazed by a bullet, shot as she's there for her school day. Now, this happened a little before 10 o'clock is what we're hearing so far. I do have, again, the ANC commissioner as well as a neighbor with me. I want to talk with the neighbor first. Mr. Shane Stevens, you said you heard the gunfire. What did this sound like for you?
It sounded similar to automatic fire, rifle fire, about 20 to 30 shots while we're sitting there with the window open and watching our kids. And so it was pretty obvious. So we knew immediately, we heard the sirens going off, that it was just routine gunfire. That there's nothing, we're not used to this, or we are used to this, and we just really hope the USAO would actually prosecute the cases for once at historical lows at 47% instead of doing their job.
So lots to unpack here. First, let's talk about the gunfire here. How do you know it's automatic?
It's pretty. I've heard in Afghanistan. I've heard in military training. I've been in the service for over decades. Enlisted and in contract world, so it's pretty obvious, straightforward. And also, we've heard this many times around this area as well. Which, again, back to the USAO. So yeah, pretty obvious.
To hear this in a school building, as kids are in school.
This is Truxton Circle. I've been in that school several times. I've talked to the 12th grade teachers, the 11th grade teachers, and counselors and everybody. And anything that happens in the school, they'll deal with. But if it's outside of the school, they don't deal with it. They don't realize that when they come down to our block and stand out there and want to fight, I got to scream at them and tell them that I'm calling the police. And that's the only way to move them, is to tell them that I'm calling the police or I'm calling the school. And then I take a picture. I take pictures. I get the pictures to the teacher and everybody.
Folks,
it doesn't matter.
I didn't get a chance to introduce you, Miss Joyce Robinson Paul.
New York, not New York, but North Capitol. Marijuana than just
infuriating. Really, it's historically low averages right now. This is insane. They're getting kids killed. This is not okay.
How things have changed in the neighborhood if you've been here for so long?
I have lived here for 30 years, and all of my kids attended Dunbar, all 4 of them. They got scholarships to college. All of them have gone through master's degrees and college degrees as a result of the old Dunbar. Now, the new Dunbar, anytime you have a principal that says she's an educator and she's not going out of the building, then that's when we have a problem, because the council person tried to get her to walk with us in the community so that we could show them the spots where the children are lingering in the morning before they go in the building. Once they get in the building, they all drugged up. What kind of education can they get? I'm a grandmother and a mother, and I don't want to see this happen to a great school. It was one of the most prominent schools in D.C. How it's got to this point, your leaders, bad leaders. We need good people that care about children. You'll come out that building if it was your child that was in the alley smoking weed. So why can't you come out there when it's a student smoking weed?